Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into some research that really got me thinking about how we as academics approach our work and well-being.
Okay. Yeah.
It's all about mindfulness and self-compassion and self-talk.
Hmm.
And get this, the findings suggest there's a type of self-talk that might actually be hindering our mindfulness and self-compassion.
Interesting.
Intrigued.
Yeah.
I know I was, so let's dive in.
It is a fascinating study, and I think its implications for academics are significant.
Absolutely.
Before we get to the surprising findings about self-talk, though, let's lay the groundwork a little bit.
Yeah, good idea.
When we talk about trait mindfulness in this context, we're really just talking about a way of being present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So it's not just about meditating, in a quiet room.
Not at all. It's really about bringing that same awareness into your daily life, Imagine, for instance, being fully present during a lecture, absorbing the information, noticing your thoughts and feelings about the material, and letting them pass without getting swept away by them.
Okay.
That's mindfulness in action.
Ah, so maybe that's the key to actually remembering what was said in those 8 a.m. lectures.
Exactly. And think about how valuable that skill is for students during exams, for professors while writing grants, or even for job seekers navigating the often stressful process of applying for academic positions.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, by the way, academicjobs.com is a great resource for.
Right, yeah.
This study suggests that cultivating mindfulness can equip us with the mental tools to navigate these challenges with more focus and resilience.
Now let's talk about self-compassion.
Okay?
I'll admit, I used to think self-compassion was just about being nice to yourself.
Yeah.
But this study suggests it's a lot deeper than that.
It is.
Yeah.
Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and acceptance that you would offer a dear friend who's facing difficulties. It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
We all struggle, and that's a normal part of the human experience.
So it's about quieting that inner critic we all have, that
Right.
voice that screams, I'm such a failure, when we miss a deadline or get a rejection letter.
Precisely.
Okay.
Imagine the impact this could have in academia, where self-criticism often runs rampant.
Oh, yeah.
We're constantly evaluating ourselves, comparing ourselves to others, and striving for perfection.
That's exhausting.
Self-compassion offers an alternative,
Okay.
a way to embrace our imperfections and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth.
I love that. But here's where the study took a turn I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
It found that while positive self-talk is helpful, a particular kind of self-talk, what they call self-management self-talk, was actually linked to less mindfulness and self-compassion.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
That's right. You
Yeah.
see, self-management, self-talk, while often intended to be positive and motivating, can sometimes take on a harsh and critical tone. It can sound like, come on, get it together, stop wasting time and finish that paper.
Oof. Yeah, I've definitely said that to myself a few times.
While this type of self-talk might seem helpful on the surface, the study found that it can actually lead to a more judgmental and self-critical mindset.
So you're telling me that constantly trying to manage myself could actually be hurting my mindfulness and self-compassion? That's a real game changer. I always thought any kind of positive self-talk was a good thing.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah.
The study highlights the importance of understanding the nuance of self-talk.
Okay.
Self-management talk often focuses on fixing perceived flaws and striving for an idealized version of ourselves, which can actually create more internal pressure and conflict.
Right.
It goes against the principles of mindfulness and self-compassion, which are about accepting ourselves as we are imperfections and all.
This is making me think about all those times I've berated myself for not being productive enough or for making mistakes in my research.
I hear that.
It's like I've been my own worst critic.
It's a common experience, especially in academia, where the pressure to achieve is so high. But what if instead of constantly pushing ourselves to do more, be better, and fix our perceived shortcomings, we practice approaching ourselves with more kindness and understanding?
It sounds like that shift in mindset could make a huge difference in how we experience our academic journeys. But how do we actually start to change these deeply ingrained self-talk patterns?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Okay.
Start paying attention to the voice in your head.
Right.
What kinds of things is it saying to you throughout the day? Is it encouraging and supportive, or is it critical and judgmental? Once you become more aware of your self-talk patterns, you can start to challenge and reframe those negative thoughts.
So instead of saying, I'm so stupid for making that mistake in my presentation, it would be more like, okay, I messed up, but everyone makes mistakes. What can I learn from this experience?
Exactly. And remember, you deserve that same kindness and understanding you would offer a colleague or friend. If a friend came to you feeling down about a research setback, you wouldn't tell them they were a failure, right? You'd offer support and encouragement.
Yeah.
Self-compassion is about extending that same compassion to yourself.
This is really resonating with me. It's like we're learning to befriend our inner critic instead of constantly battling it.
That's a great way to put it. And just like any friendship, it takes time and effort to cultivate.
Right.
The more you practice self-compassion, the more natural it will become. And the benefits can be profound, leading to less stress, greater resilience, and a more positive and fulfilling academic experience.
It makes you wonder how different academia would be if we all embraced these principles. More supportive collaborations, less cutthroat competition, and perhaps even more groundbreaking research stemming from a place of self-acceptance and curiosity, rather than fear and self-doubt.
It's an inspiring vision. And it all starts with each of us cultivating these qualities within ourselves. Remember, you don't have to wait for a perfect time to start practicing mindfulness and self-compassion.
Right. Even small moments of awareness, like taking a few deep breaths before a big presentation, or consciously choosing to speak to yourself with kindness after a setback, can have a ripple effect on your well-being and your work.
Absolutely. And speaking of navigating the academic world, don't forget that academicjobs.com is a valuable resource for anyone looking for job postings, career advice, and insights into the higher education landscape.
Great point. You know, this conversation has really highlighted the power of self-compassion and mindfulness, not just for our individual well-being, but for the academic community as a whole.
I completely agree. When we cultivate these qualities within ourselves, it creates a ripple effect, influencing our interactions with students, colleagues, and the wider academic world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder.
Okay.
If we could all commit to practicing self-compassion and mindfulness in our academic journeys, how might that transform our experiences, our research, and ultimately the impact we make in our respective fields?
What a powerful question. I encourage you to reflect on that and see what insights emerge.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of mindfulness, self-compassion, and self-talk. It's been an enlightening journey, and I hope you've gained some valuable insights to apply to your own academic life. Remember, be kind to yourselves, stay curious, and keep exploring.
That's a great question. And while the study focused on young adults, I think the findings are relevant to anyone navigating the challenges of academia, regardless of age or career stage.
Right.
You're right, a seasoned professor might face different pressures than a grad student, but the underlying need for self-compassion and mindfulness remains constant.
Yeah, I'm thinking about things like the pressure to publish, secure funding, mentor students effectively,
Yeah,
all while maintaining a semblance of work-life balance.
right.
It seems like those pressures could really fuel that inner critic, especially if you're not practicing self-compassion.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, imagine how a more mindful and compassionate approach to mentorship could transform the academic experience for both the mentor and the mentee.
Mm.
It could create a more supportive and encouraging environment where students feel comfortable taking risks, learning from their mistakes, and ultimately thriving.
That's a beautiful thought. It's like shifting the entire culture of academia from one of relentless striving to one of collective support and growth.
Exactly. And speaking of growth, if you're looking for opportunities to expand your academic horizons, whether it's finding a new position, collaborating on research, or simply connecting with like-minded individuals,
Yeah.
academicjobs.com is a fantastic platform to explore.
Thanks for the reminder. This conversation has really highlighted the power of self-compassion and mindfulness, not just for our individual well-being, but for the academic community as a whole.
I completely agree. When we cultivate these qualities within ourselves, it creates a ripple effect, influencing our interactions with students, colleagues, and the wider academic world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder. If we could all commit to practicing self-compassion and mindfulness in our academic journeys, how might that transform our experiences, our research, and ultimately the impact we make in our respective fields?
What a powerful question. I encourage you to reflect on that and see what insights emerge.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of mindfulness, self-compassion, and self-talk. It's been an enlightening journey, and I hope you've gained some valuable insights to apply to your own academic life. Remember, be kind to yourselves, stay curious, and keep exploring.